You know, I was more of an underdog, the guy who wasn't the smartest, wasn't the biggest, wasn't the strongest, wasn't the fastest, was the skinniest. That's why they call me Skinny Rick. One of the things I used to do was I would ride my bike down to the basketball courts. This guy was on the court, and he goes, "Is your sister Rhonda?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "That's my sister." I'm like, what the heck he's talking about? And so I'm gonna go tell my dad, and my dad's gonna come back, and he's gonna let this guy know, you know, don't play games like that with me. And when I went home, my dad, I could tell he wanted to tell me something, but he didn't want to be the one to say it. He was like, "Let's just wait till your mom comes home, and then we'll discuss it and talk about it." And I'm like, I found out that I was adopted because my mom couldn't have children and that they didn't really want to tell me. My mom came home, she started crying. "Haven't we raised you, good, haven't we been good or whatever?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I love you, but I just want to know the truth though." I just felt like everything that I had known up to that point was a lie. I just felt like I had to do something to feel better, to feel wanted, to feel like needed. It put a chip on my shoulder. That's what it did. I'm gonna prove to everybody that I belong. It was very, very hard being around people and feeling different. Here's my family. They had good hair. I had bad hair. They had good skin. I had bad skin. They looked better than me, I felt like. And I felt like because of that, I didn't belong. I had to prove myself.
Takes it on the 25.
Skinny Rick developed into a high school football giant in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, starring at running back, receiver, and return man.
I was the #1 recruit, but it was because of I could do all these different things. I wanted to play running back. When Coach Holtz came from Notre Dame, he said, "You can start for us at running back now." So I was like, "Oh, wow. Here's a guy who wanted to be wanted, right? And wanted people to appreciate me."
After Ricky Waters arrived at Notre Dame, Coach Lou Holtz changed his tune.
There wasn't that much difference between Ricky Waters and a Mark Green and Tony Brooks at running back. But at wide receiver, there was a big drop-off. So we were a better football team when Ricky Waters was as a wide receiver.
Waters also returned kicks. Holtz saw his elusiveness as an asset, but not when it happened off the field.
I never had a problem with him academically, drugs, alcohol. I had a problem with him keeping time or being on time. I remember vividly saying, "If you're late one more time, your fault, my fault, bus driver's fault, I don't care. If you're late one more time, you ain't playing."
In Waters' sophomore year, Notre Dame was 10-0 and ranked #1 in the country, entering the regular season finale at #2 ranked USC. But at the dinner the night before the game, Waters and teammate Tony Brooks were late, and Holtz made good on his threat.
The part that was pretty frustrating to me was that we actually got there in time.
We didn't go by Eastern Standard Time. We went by LLH time, Lois Leo Holtz. And what was on my watch was really critical, and everybody was 5 minutes early.
And I just couldn't believe when he came back to the rooms, when he was like, "Man, I'm gonna just send you guys home."
We took him out and put him on the airplane. That was a mistake. Should have put him on the bus. They had 4 hours. They should have had 4 days to think about their trip back home.
Notre Dame would go on to win the game and the national championship.
Little sour taste. It wasn't super sweet. I wanted to quit.
Waters came back for his junior season, and Holtz gave him a chance at running back, but he wasn't sold on keeping him there.
It was obvious he's a very talented individual. But his problem with running back in college was this. He wanted to score on every play. When you try to impress the world every time you had the ball, you aren't going to get the maximum. And that's not what great running backs do.
And he's like, "I just don't understand why you can't see At wide receiver, you could be special, but at running back, you're average at best. Average at best.
I might have said it to him, I don't recall, but if I did, it'd be an average running back when you're running the way you are.
Not only is that a hurtful thing to say to me, but that also is something that will drive me, because I'm not going to let you be right.
Waters finished his college career averaging more than 5.5 yards per carry. In the NFL draft, he fell to San Francisco in the second round, then missed his entire rookie season with injuries.
They start saying you break easy. Then they start calling me glass man. Then it turned into, forget him, we're going in another direction. But I wasn't going to let that happen. I was not going to be denied.
In 1992, Waters won the 49ers' starting running back job.
He was mercurial and he was emotional, and the emotion wasn't bottled up ever.
I was just trying to make it. I just was trying to hype myself up.
I'm young, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
Ricky really wanted to just be great. I think the most important thing you could do is give him space.
You talk about energy, that guy is the most energetic football player I've ever seen.
We needed Ricky's talent. Open field running, 4th and 1. Catching the ball.
Ricky Waters, he brings a missing element. The more he's played, the more confident he's gotten, and he has taken over. It's really been an asset.
And his personality, it wasn't a negative, it was a positive, and it was something that did create some flair, and we probably could have used more of that.
Turn it on. So you don't have respect for water until it comes and drowns you. It's going to be a title word today.
Young with a handoff to Waters. He walks into the end zone.
He's just getting his party started.
Handoff to Waters into the end zone. Second time today.
Still from being older, baby. It's your baby.
Handoff. Ricky Waters into the end zone. His third touchdown of the day.
It ain't over yet.
Handoff to Waters. Sweep to the left. Finds a hole. Tucked in. Reeks to the end zone. Touchdown 49ers. 4 touchdowns for Ricky Waters. A playoff record for San Francisco.
Waters, 5 for the day. 5 touchdowns by Ricky Waters.
When he was so up and so hyped for this day, Ricky Waters was ready.
You can do it all, but I think you're best when you just run the ball. What do you think? Because you know what? You turn the power on. It's unbelievable. Just something to think about. Oh, yeah. I love you, man. You're sweet. All right, baby. You're in my huddle anytime, right? All right.
In 1994, the 49ers made it to the Super Bowl.
In that game, he showed all the things he can do.
Deep middle. Waters are great. Over the shoulder catch. Bounces away again. Oh, what a bonanza. Quick pass. Left flat. Ricky Waters makes the catch again. Touchdown 49ers. They give it to Ricky. Cuts back left side. Into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers. He beats Stanley Richards with a tremendous putback move.
I felt like the validation was finally there for Skinny Rick. I had proven myself, and I felt like it was time for me to get taken care of like these other guys who were on the team.
The 49ers chose not to re-sign Waters.
And I'm like, what are we doing? What are we thinking about? What have we lost our mind? Just the idea that we could convince ourselves that it's okay to let Ricky go was one of the biggest mistakes we ever made. I just don't think he was appreciated. Maybe that's the problem that happened, is that he wasn't as appreciated as he should have been because of the personality that was so flamboyant. The personality covered a little bit of the talent. This bugged me a long time. It made my life pretty miserable without him. When he was gone, I was like, oh my gosh, he was great.
Waters signed with his hometown team, Philadelphia.
He is out of the shadows of all of those 49er superstars. He's in a place where he finally feels appreciated, where he can go out and be himself.
In 1995, Ricky Watters debuted with the Eagles.
My feeling was, this is a perfect fit. Kid from Harrisburg, demonstrated that he's a terrific player, tough, runs over people, a guy who plays big in big games. I mean, he's everything that you're looking for in Philadelphia.
In week 1, he faced the Bucs.
Ricky played miserably. Late in the game, they're down 21-6. There's an overthrown pass that Ricky just doesn't fully extend for, just lets it go.
He saw Charles Dimring coming, and he stopped. And that has not endeared himself to the Eagle fans here.
And after the game, he was asked about that. And his response, famously, was, what, reach for that ball? For who? For what?
Well, first of all, I didn't want to talk because I would have liked to have seen the film first. But they were like, you're the captain. You got to speak. Okay, I'll do it, but just give me some time because I was, trying to get my bearings on what just happened. I was in shock.
They had to have another press conference, like 2 days later, where they brought Ricky out and he tried to kind of explain what he wasn't able to explain on Sunday.
Would you even want me to go for a ball like that when I could be injured for the rest of the year? And even if I caught the ball, it would have taken a miracle for us to win that football game. It's just one game. We're going to be okay.
And he explained it better, but still not to the satisfaction of the fans. It was still like, oh boy, you sell out for every play. Doesn't matter if it's the first quarter or the fourth quarter to down 3 touchdowns. You play every play to the hilt. I mean, he might be from Harrisburg, he might be from Pennsylvania, but he's not one of us.
And they started, questioning my manhood. And so here I am all over again trying to prove myself. I'm not little skinny Rick anymore. And everyone's going to see that I am who they thought I was, that I am a great player.
Playing the Waters, breaks one tackle, breaks 2.
Ricky Watters just runs through the tackle.
By the end of that season, Ricky had 399 touches, a club record.
The best back today was Ricky Watters, baby! He got it done. I'm not going to argue with him.
He had 404 touches the next year and had over 1,800 combined yards, led the NFL. Ricky Watters proved that he was a warrior. In the 3 years he was here, you look at that offense, it was him. He got off to a bad start, but nobody can deny that over 3 years he was one hell of a player.
Ricky Watters is an amazing football player.
After Philadelphia, Watters played 4 years in Seattle. He is one of only 2 players to run for 1,000 yards in a season for 3 different teams. He ended his career with over 10,000 rushing yards and nearly 15,000 yards from scrimmage. But the player who just wanted to be appreciated has yet to be embraced by the Hall of Fame.
I think some of it is his persona. He was just a prickly kind of character. He's a terrific player in San Francisco, but wore out his welcome there. If you mention Ricky Watters to any Eagles fan, the first thing he's going to say, I guarantee you, the first thing he's going to say is, oh yeah, for who, for what?
It was one of those things that was still hurting me, and I couldn't believe it, took place the way it did, and it went down like that, and that people were thinking that way about me. I wanted it to go away.
When his career ended, he wrote his autobiography with the 4 words as its title.
It wasn't even supposed to be a book. It was just me writing down my thoughts and just kind of like therapy. It still hurt.
He began to heal when he shared his story with children who were given up for adoption, just like him.
And they said, oh my God, I can't believe you were just like me. You were scared too, or you thought you was ugly too, or, you know, all these things that they're going through. And for me to be able to show them some love is very fulfilling for me.
The question now is, will the Hall of Fame ever show that love to the player formerly known as Skinny Rick?
I have a feeling that he will enter the Hall of Fame conversation. He's got to. If you look at his career numbers, and one of the things that I always put a tremendous amount of value in is, how long did he play in big games? Ricky was one of those guys that the bigger the game, the better he played.
In 1999, Ricky Waters married attorney Katharina Chang. Later that same year, their first child was born premature.
It was just the most horrible thing you can imagine when they said, you know, if you just want a little time with him because he's not going to make it. Here's my son, and he's dying, and we're holding him, and we're looking at him, and we're kissing him and everything, and he's like, and just... And to hold him until he took his last breath, that right there changed something in me, and I know in her
definitely.
too. And I think that, as bad as it was, made me a better father when I became a father, which happened just a year later on the same day.
You know, you would think, okay, our family's complete. I mean, we were so happy to have that second chance. I just always had this feeling, you know, there's another child out there. I just remember in the kitchen saying, you know, like, just curious, you know, how would you feel about adopting?
Of course, I would love that because I was adopted, so I would love to pay that forward.
But we got this call. They said, we have this child in Korea, and you match this ideal profile of what the birth mother, you know, would love to have for a child. You're the only couple in our entire profile. But this little boy, his father was from Nigeria, and the mother was Korean. So half Asian, half black. The first time that we ever laid eyes on you, we were in Seoul, Korea, and we were at the adoption agency. In one hand was this blue bag, and the other hand was Shane, was you.
It's a bundle of joy.
So you were only 8 months old, and already getting emotional.
It's okay.
I'm really glad they told me I was adopted, like, as soon as they could. Because if I found out like the way my dad did, I don't know how it would be right now. I do want to know who my biological parents are, but if I don't find out, I would be fine. I was very lucky in being able to be adopted into a family like this.
For years, Ricky Waters had never revealed his true feelings about his own family history. After having children, he let his guard down.
I just remember saying, you know, have you ever thought about maybe looking into your birth parents? You know, it would be a natural thing to do, and you were against it in the beginning.
I actually felt afraid. I'm successful, I'm doing well now, I have a good family. Do I want something that might let me down again?
I brought it up again, just because I'm like, you know, I was just kind of guessing, going to instinct. Something was still bothering him.
She made me kind of talk about it. It was kind of the first time I kind of really talked about it with her. What I really like to know. And I started crying.
That definitely was the point that
that's when we both
you know,
knew.
whether we find a private investigator or not, whoever, you know, whatever, I just knew myself that I had to find his mother for him.
So, less than 24 hours away. What's your overriding feeling about this?
Almost being in a state of non-belief that this is actually really happening. You know, going through my whole life and everything I did being affected by this one situation or this one moment. Or they can all be liberated and, you know, and kind of handled almost, you know, in one moment.
Who are we going to pick up at the airport?
I'm Krista's mom.
You mean Daddy's mom?
Krister.
Dad's mommy and Daddy's brother, Jason.
I'm so glad to see you. But you never even talked to me. I'm so glad to see you. I am home. I have nothing but love for you. I'm not quoting that from the song.
Meeting her was a good thing. I look just like her, you know. I mean, you can see where the resemblance is. And meeting my brothers and seeing I look just like them. Now, when I look back on it, it's so clear to me. The whole time it was bothering me. You know, that my actions, everything, wanting to be the best. And not only just wanting to be the best, having to be the best, having to be the center of attention. I want my mom and the people I came from to say, you done well. We didn't give you away because we didn't care about you. We think you're beautiful. We think you're great. We've met more than that and spent some time, but it got messy.
That's your grandma. Wow. That's what.
Didn't have a real relationship with her or anything, but it's all fine. I'm glad that I met my mom. I already had my closure that I needed.